Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. I am Zubair Hussain and today we're moving a wee bit out of the tech sector and talking about an equally important and highly requested topic of personal finance. All you need to get started is a pen and a notebook. And stick around till the end because I'm going to reveal my expense tracking as an example. The method that I use is called a Japanese money-saving technique called Kakebo. It's a method where we write down all our income and expenses and try to save a bunch of money at the end of the month. So at first, we are going to categorize all our expenses into 4 categories. Firstly, the needs, wants, cultural, and unplanned expenses. We're going to denote this in N, W, C, and U. So in the needs, we have groceries, transport, food, clothes, etc., which are a necessity for living, the things which we cannot omit. Wants includes things like shopping, eating out, games, trips, basically which you can live without but you want to spend on. Cultural sectors are things such as books, movies, cultural events, gift giving when visiting others, and etc. These are the things which are culturally important, like building better relationship with your friends and family, as well as in improving your own self. The unplanned expenses are self-explanatory. Things are unexpected or unknown in our plan. It can be repairs, accidents, medical medicines, etc. So now that we have a better understanding at the expenses categories, we can now move on to creating the Kakebo. So tips is to use a different color pen when actually making the categories in the notebook. For each month, we need 4 pages on our notebook. We start with the left page, writing the month name and the year on top. So I'm making this part for the February of 2025. That's what I'm writing here. Then we start to write down our monthly income. Then we create our monthly income sector. Normally, this sector is going to be a bit smaller because if you don't have multiple sources of income, this is going to take a few lines. So we keep some small spaces for here, and then we move on to writing our expenses sector. This section is going to be a bit bigger because you have a lot of expenses. This mainly covers your fixed expenses such as rent, telephone bill, electricity, Wi-Fi, etc. So this section is going to be a bit bigger than your monthly income sector. Towards the end of the page, we make another small section called savings goals, where this is the section where we want to put a number which we want to save in this month, which is our goal to save by the end of this month. And finally, we will make yet another small section called allowed to spend. We have to obviously make the total fields for each of the sections of income as well as expenses. And the formula for allowed to spend is very easy. You take the monthly income and subtract your fixed expenses and your saving goals, and whatever you left with, you divide it by 4, and that is your weekly expense limit. So you make another field for the weekly limit. So this ends the first page of the month. Now we move on to the second page where we start the weekly expenses tracking. We name this weekly budget. Here we start it from week 1 of our month. On the right side, we make a field for our allowed amount. Next, we put the date, the purchase, and the 4 expense columns. Our needs, wants, cultural, and unplanned. At the end of the table, we put the total, where we calculate the total of the needs, wants, cultural, and unplanned expenses for the week 1. And finally, for week 1, we have the in total, which we spent for the entire week, where we add the total of needs, wants, cultural, and unplanned expenses. I also added one more thing which I want to track is the weekly groceries that I do. So from the needs, I just add up the grocery bills and just put it in this field. Similarly, we do this for the week 2. We put the allowed field here. And we continue on with our table from week 1 to here. Total weekly groceries and total spend for week 2. On the third page, we do the same thing for week 3 and week 4. Okay, now as we are finished with our weekly budgeting, and the fourth and the final page of the month, we do the monthly review of the entire month. Here, we put down the weeks, the expense categories, and we make a table out of it. I also add the total I spent on groceries this month to track if we are overspending on groceries. And finally, we have the grand total expenditure of the entire month. Now that we are done with all of the expense tracking, now comes the saving part and the calculation of how much we have managed to save during the entire month. So I've written this section as savings/loans for this month because I had a goal of saving, and if that goal is not met and I overspent this month, I'm going to take a loan from myself, which I will try to repay it onto the next month, and that will be going to my fixed expenses on the next month. So calculating this is actually also simple. We have the field for allowed for this month, which we have calculated here, which we have calculated on the first page. We subtract it with the spent for this month, which is the grand total of expenditures. And we have the final field of did we actually save or loaned. So when I first started this technique, I had this section empty and I used to do other things. For example, like a few tips to improve how this month, few tips to improve how this month went and how to improve the next month. But I over the years, I have managed to use this space for other things, such as tracking my credit card expenses, as well as specific personal loans that I have from other people. So I've used this space for that particular purpose. First, I make a section for my savings account. Here is everything that I've saved on my savings account. So if there's I managed to save a bunch of money this month, I will be adding this into this section. Or if I have loaned from myself, I will be subtracting this from my personal savings account as well. And lastly, I have the loans section where I write any type of personal loans that I have. If I take loans from my friends or family, I write down here so that I don't forget to pay them on time. And also I write down any credit card loans that I did during the month, any credit card expenditures I write here, and the reason I write it here so that in the next month, meaning when I again start doing this fresh for March, I will write the credit card expenses as well as the loans on my fixed expenses in this section. So this is the extra section that I use this for. You can adjust or customize it however you want. For this section, I use it like this. So enough talking, let's move on to an example that I did when I first started doing this back in February of 2024. So I was living in Dubai and doing freelance work. So I had a bunch of clients, and I wrote down all of the clients' income as my monthly income. So there was no specific fixed amount of income. This section is the fixed expenses, where I wrote down many other things which were fixed at the time when I thought these was fixed, but these were not actually fixed because I could have easily wrote down the groceries section in the groceries budget. So, but that's the time I was starting out, and I had made a lot of improvements over the years. So I had some savings goals. I had some allowed to spend, like these were my allowed to spend in dirhams per week. And as you can see, this is for the week one. Very these were very unplanned. So as you can see, these are not good. But this was my very first doing of the Kakebo method. So again, moving on to the week 3, week 4, as you can see, I have some breakfast, lunch, which weren't all in needs because I could have easily cooked at home, but I chose to bring takeout, so that's obviously on the needs section. And finally, in the monthly review section, I put down everything, and there's this grand total. And as you can see, this was what I did back in the day, where I had points to improve on the next month, so that I am writing the grocery was the highest expense and trying to cook more. So yeah, so that's it, folks. This is how I keep track of my budget throughout these years, and as you can see, I've improved it, this technique, and you can follow this technique because this gives you a lot of time to actually write a lot of you can flip to the pages, and you can see which was the highest expenses throughout your previous months. And it only takes just 10 minutes to set up at the beginning of each month, and you can just fill it up week by week or daily if you want. And filling up the process is actually fun, so it's not big of a deal. If you have found this video useful, drop a like and a comment if you have any questions, and subscribe if you want to hear more, and I will see you on the next one.